Welcome, friends. It's good to welcome you from north and south and east and west. And if you would, will you let us know where you're coming from today? If you wouldn't even mind dropping your space that you are in, the country or the state or the city where you find yourself today. It's great to welcome so many folks here. We're gathering from around the country and around North America. And we've had even some folks from the UK and Australia join us for some of these events, which I think is amazing. Colorado Springs,
Yes.
my dining room in Minneapolis, Conway, New Hampshire, Schultz, BC, Minneapolis again, Webster Groves, Missouri. All right, that's where I'm at right now. Seattle and Philadelphia, Montgomery, Alabama, Denver, Colorado, and East Brunswick, New Jersey. Great. Truro, Nova Scotia. All right. Nova Scotia in the house. Sandusky, New York, and Anderson, Indiana. And Plymouth, Connecticut. Saskatchewan, Canada. All right. The provinces are showing up today.
Whoa.
This is awesome. Welcome, friends. Welcome, and great to see all of you. Next to beautiful Seneca Lake in upstate New York, and then Decatur, Georgia. Jackson, Michigan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Helena and Houston. What a gift to see so many folks, and we have our panelists are making their way onto our call. Palo Alto, California, and St. Petersburg, Florida. Welcome, Sonia, and hello, Leon Burke. I see you. It's good to see you, friends. And Erfurt, Germany. All right, we've got at least our first European that I see on the list. All right, Erfurt, and Inglewood, California. Ontario, okay, another province. Let's check off the provinces here as we go. Racine, Wisconsin, and Doylestown. Good. And Scott Moore, good to see you, Scott. Also in Germany today, in Kitchener. Friends, I invite you as we gather together, as we keep typing our names in the places that we're from. Friends, we're gonna sing together. And I invite you, those of you who are panelists today, to be on mute as we learn together and as we sing a song, as we create a bond of connection. We may not be able to hear each other, but we can see and feel each other in this place. And there's someone from Malaysia here. We're going to celebrate that too. Friends, echo after me as I sing wherever you are. Listen. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Try that. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This wonderful day. Try that. This wonderful day. This wonderful day. Try that. This wonderful day. Let's say thank you for these friends, Spirit, all gathered from around North America and Europe and who else knows where, and Asia. Thank you for these friends, Spirit. Thank you for these friends. Sing with me. Thank you for these friends, Spirit. Thank you for these friends. Thank you for these friends, Spirit. Thank you for these friends. Thank you for these friends, Spirit. Thank you for these friends. These wonderful friends. These wonderful friends. These wonderful friends. Try that. These wonderful friends. I invite you to sing with me now, friends. Thank you for my voice, Spirit. Thank you for my voice. All our voices together. Thank you for my voice, Spirit. Thank you for my voice. Thank you for my voice, Spirit. Thank you for my wonderful My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful voice. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful voice. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Your wonderful voice. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Your wonderful voice. Yes, thank you, friends. Thank you, and welcome to this second Music That Makes Community webinar focused on Zoom leadership, on online song leadership. You may know a little bit about Music That Makes Community from our presence online and elsewhere. And friends, we invite you to this space where we're going to today unpack the ways that we've been exploring and continuing to work. It is not safe right now for us to be together, and as we're learning, unfortunately, it is right now not safe for us to sing together in the ways that we have before. And so we are today exploring how we can sing safely and we hope creatively and playfully in an online space, and noticing that that takes some different skills. And actually, it takes some of the same skills that we use when we sing with groups of people in person. So we're going to offer today experiences of online leadership, much like we have. You're going to notice that there are about, now I think 16 or 15 of us today who are online gathered. And friends, I'm going to invite you to first meet our panelists who are going to lead some song today. And then I'm going to invite you to sit back, and maybe not sit back, but to lean in to what we're going to make together as we do this work of making online singing. So I would love to let you know who is going to be leading our webinar today, our presenters. And here they are. You can see their names. Connie, Nehemiah, Donald, Charlotte, and Paul. And hey, you know what? I actually think there are some names missing from this particular piece because we have a different set of people that are leading this week. So I'm actually just noticing that, and I'm sorry for that. But let's start with Connie. Connie, will you tell us who you are and where you're at?
Hello, hello, hello. I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota. I am the church musician at Edina Morningside United Church of Christ, but I also consider myself a Luthopalian Sufi dancer. And I'm really excited to share a song with you soon.
Thank you, Connie. I would love for you to also meet our friend Sylvia Miller-Mutia. Sylvia, will you introduce yourself to us, please?
Hi, I'm Sylvia. I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm an Episcopal priest and a mama and a dancer. And I'm so happy to be here and sing with you today.
Welcome, Sylvia. It's good to see you. Friends, I also would like to introduce Charles Murphy. Charles, tell us about yourself.
Hello, hello. I'm Charles Murphy, and I am in Chicago, Illinois right now, and I do music for a couple churches, mainly for a Presbyterian church right now, but also feel that I am a part of many wonderful communities, and super excited to be here and sing and experiment and risk with all y'all.
Thank you, Charles. And I also want to introduce Nehemiah Luckett. Nehemiah, tell us about yourself.
Hello, my name is Nehemiah. My pronouns are he, him, and I am currently in New York City in Harlem. I'm a music director and composer, and I work a lot in theater, in social justice, and with choirs. Currently, I am the music director for Reverend Billy and the Stop Shopping Choir, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
We are excited that you're here as well. And I also want to introduce Music That Makes Community's wonderful administrative assistant and also a leader in this practice, Charlotte Moroz. Charlotte, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Paul. It is so beautiful to see and feel all of your presence. Even if we can't see you, we feel you here with us. So I am originally from Vermont. I usually hail from Brooklyn, New York. And I, as you might have seen, I'm a sometimes puppeteer and very much a performer. I devise theater that's often based off of mythological kind of origins and blending them with stories of today. And as Paul mentioned, you might have received some emails from me. I have the joy of supporting MMC's work on an administrative side as well. So thanks as well for being in touch with me via email and other ways.
And I'm Paul Vasile. I'm the Executive Director of Music That Makes Community. And friends, I've been involved in this work in some way, shape, or form for maybe about a dozen years now, and have experienced how this practice of leadership has really helped me in the context in which I've served as a church musician, as a composer, as a consultant. All of this is informing our creativity in the ways that we show up in the world. There's also a really important skill that I have learned from Music That Makes Community, a way of being and of thinking, of approaching this practice of singing that's helped me immensely. And it's the practice of noticing. And it's something we want to invite you into today. As you're going to see in the slide that'll come up, we're inviting today the question, as you are participating in this work with us, of what did you notice? It's not that we don't have judgments, it's not that we don't have experiences, but we do, friends, want to approach them with grace, we want to approach them with care, and we want to approach them from a contemplative lens. It's part of our work and it's part of the practice. So when we're asking this question, and this is a question we've been asking as a group, we're cultivating curiosity, we're cultivating wonder, we're cultivating a humility as we approach this practice of singing in person or online. And it would be easy for us today to give you a list of things that you need to do, to say, this is the way to sing online. But I hope that what we can do today is help lift up questions and noticings that aren't just going to come from me, but are going to come from this group about how we show up to the work of leadership in online spaces or in person. And friends, you're going to probably want to share some of those noticings in the chat bar. And as we go through this time, you're going to also probably want to ask some questions. And there's a Q&A bar at the bottom of the webinar list there. You can see it. And you're welcome to ask some questions as we go. We're going to be here for an hour. We're going to end as promptly as we can to 4 o'clock. But we're going to hang out for a little while to answer some more questions you might have, and we'll also follow up with some more resources. I also want to give a shout out today to Rhiannon, who is our Zoom tech. We've gotten to calling her our Zoom wizard, and you are being welcomed into this experience, not just by us, but by her as well. And if you get rowdy, she said she's faster than a youth group pastor on Super Bowl Sunday in blocking people and sending you to jail. So you'll get booted off this call if you misbehave. Jokingly, I know we're here to sing, but friends, know that we're also trying to create a safe space for this community to be in as well, and she is part of helping create that for us. So, Charlotte, is there anything else I missed?
Beautiful, beautiful. And yes, I love that image of a pastor tackling. So we are here for you with your questions, and as well with your with any sort of ideas you have. Feel free to use the chat bar if you'd like the Q&A as a way to specifically kind of ask certain panelists, which is what anyone that you see here is. And just know that you are absolutely here with us. We are hoping to kind of incorporate your questions as we go. And then, as Paul mentioned, at the end, we'll have about 15 minutes of bonus time to kind of take a few more questions and to continue the conversation. We will then be able to share some resources from this afterwards. So we'll do our part to share new songs that you're hearing here and other resources. So rest assured, we'll take care of that. It's our hope that you're going to be able to spend some time with us for this next hour to, be able to leave with some strategies, maybe some questions, maybe some answers, some new songs. And I think for all of us feeling like there's more than 400 people together right now. And, us combined with the past webinar, to know that we're really making a commitment together to grow our skills, not just virtually, but really as a way to seed new skills in person as well. And just a quick note to say that thank you so much for being here. And this webinar is made possible by your contributions. And so we'll let you know how to do that later. So now to singing more. Sylvia, we'd like to invite you to offer your sharing with us.
All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. Come fire, come wind. Holy Spirit, come. Come life, come power. Holy Spirit, come. Listen again. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. Come fire, come wind. Holy Spirit, come. Come life, come power. Holy Spirit, come. Sing with me. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. Come fire, come wind. Holy Spirit, come. Come life, come power. Holy Spirit, come. Panelist friends, will you unmute yourselves and be ready to call down the Spirit? When I'm singing, my voices are like that. When my hands are like this, it means it's your turn. I'll call out somebody to call down the Spirit. Nehemiah, won't you call down the Spirit?
Holy Spirit, come.
Jennifer, won't you call down the Spirit?
Holy Spirit, come.
Come fire, come wind. Connie,
Holy Spirit, come.
come life, come power. Charlotte,
Holy Spirit, come.
Martha Ann, won't you call down the Spirit?
Holy Spirit, come.
Amy, won't you call down the Spirit?
Holy Spirit,
Red
come.
Barbara, come la fire, come wind.
Holy Spirit, come.
Get ready, Charles. Come life, come power.
Holy Spirit, come.
Does somebody else want to be the call?
Ooh.
Paul, are you ready?
Oh, people, won't you call down the Spirit? Patty.
Holy Spirit, come.
Oh, people, won't you call down the Spirit, Pat?
Holy Spirit, come.
Come life.
Come life, come wind. Charles.
Holy Spirit, come.
Come life, come power, Donald.
Holy Spirit, come.
Back on mute so that everyone can sing together. Back on mute, let's listen with our hearts. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. All you people, won't you call down the Spirit? Holy Spirit, come. Come fire, come wind. Holy Spirit, come life, come power. Holy Spirit, come. Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, come. Holy Spirit, come. Thank you, friend.
Thank you, Sylvia. So friends, we're moving into a kind of a time of noticing that Paul has invited us into, noticing how anything, sensations, how we felt, any kind of observations or noticing. So feel free to write, attendees, feel free to write in the chat bar things that you're noticing, and we'd love to see and hear what you're noticing. Panelists and Sylvia, what are we noticing from this sharing?
I noticed that, for those of us who use Zoom, a common complaint is the lag time. And in this kind, the way that Sylvia set up the song, there's not that much of a lag time. And it kind of flows a lot easier.
Thank you. Friends, other noticings?
I am noticing that Sylvia's dancing outdoor energy is bringing me so much life, and how when she is free, we are freed. So thank you, friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, go
I
ahead, Nehemiah.
especially loved just seeing all of the physical movement of the panelists all together. It felt fun and freeing, and it also helped me remember the words.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's pretty fun. It's pretty Pentecosty to see all of the different arms. Like, you can't really be tongues of fire by yourself, but you get a bunch of people all waving around and you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, beautiful. And noticing on the panel, we're seeing some chats, noticing beautiful noticings. Thank you, attendees, for these, that we're kind of working with and kind of making the best, but kind of with curiosity, walking into some of these platforms, so Zoom or any other platforms you're using, that there's maybe some challenges, but there's also a lot of like, it actually kind of works with that. There's a noticing of participation and reflection, resources that we have. We're just kind of being creative with what we're doing. The visual participation was helpful when all was muted. There's some noticings about lag, and then other folks noticing that it actually kind of wove together. Bit of laughter with some of the Zoom learning and lag time, and lovely to make laughter a part of the learning process. Thank you all for these noticings. Beautiful.
Thank you. And it brings us to just kind of a first set of questions as we have been thinking about what we've been doing around teaching songs with Zoom. And friends, these are some questions that have come up in this work, and they just came up in the teaching that we did. Well, so how much text is easily repeated back by the group? That's a really good question. Can we sing a whole verse of a hymn, or do we need to chunk it out? It's a really good question. This question, and you negotiated this interestingly, Sylvia, when is the song ready to shift from the chunks or me singing to the group singing? How do we cue in visually or affectively, even in an online space, to that? What changed when a voice other than the leader offered an echo? What happened when leadership shifted in the group? How did that make you feel, or what did that bring to your noticing? Also, what's the quality of attention the leader is needing to pay, and vice versa? So the question is what are we queuing into? What are we discovering about what queuing is happening, even in an online space? And finally, I love this question. What gifts do we offer each other when we figure it out together rather than go alone? That's a question of collaboration and a question of sharing authority, a question of partnership. And friends, can that even exist in an online space in an effective way? We're wondering out loud, and we're exploring as we go.
Friends, join me in self-loving, self-muting. Let's mute ourselves with self-love. And you're invited to take a deep breath. Find yourself where you are. Shine on me. Shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Friends, you can echo me. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me. shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. 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 Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Let's sing it all together again. Shine on me. Shine on me. Let the lighthouse, let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Friends, I welcome you off of mute joyfully. I welcome you off of mute. And like a relay, we are invited to share pieces of this song. So I may start with shine on me, and then you might choose, friends, to then sing shine on me. And then someone else, another friend might come in, let the light from the lighthouse, and then someone else, shine on me, and on like that. So friends, let's begin. And this song is warmly shared with you. Shine on me.
Shine on me.
Let the light from the lighthouse
shine on me.
Shine on me.
Shine on me.
Let the light from the lighthouse
shine on me.
Shine on me.
Shine on me.
Beautiful.
Let the light from the lighthouse
shine on me.
shine on me.
Yes.
On me.
Let the light from the lighthouse
Shine on me.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Friends, noticings from this experience. And again, attendees, please know that your noticings are welcome as well in the chat bar. Friends. Yes.
It's humanly beautifully awkward, and I didn't know who was going to be next, and there was no order established, so it was, we're all used to jumping in, so that's one way it worked, I noticed. But I loved the, oh, who's going to sing next?
And the few moments when two people sang together and it worked.
I noticed real careful listening to each other. Like we were really listening and we were singing softly if we were going to do something. It was not tentative, but it was tender.
Oh, and Charlotte, you started it with so much soul. It was just, you planted it for everybody.
And friends in the chat bar, thank you so much. Harmonies, how beautiful. Can't wait to try some of this. made me a little anxious. Friends, all of these noticings are such a gift to us. Thank you for your some bold noticing. I love that some harmony is possible. Maybe something about the pacing helps offer the invitation so that if we are keeping a pace, then it helps folks jump in and know when to. How precious the bass part is and what a pleasure to offer it all by myself here. This is from an attendee against the counterpoint. So noticing that even on mute, we can really enjoy some rich harmony. Beautiful noticings. Thank you all so much.
Let's pull back, because I think this is actually showing us a couple of more sort of, or inviting us to some more questions and some bigger noticing as we look at the next slide. Friends, so the question we're asking is this, and you're noticing it, how is our online teaching encouraging participation? Not just spectating or watching, but engaging deeply in what we're making together. And friends, what are faces, what are bodies communicating to the group? What is this quality of invitation that we're still noticing even in an online space? Does this matter? How does it matter? This question of hospitality, what does it feel like when a leader says, oh, you all know this, so just sing with me, versus, as Charlotte and others have done, lining it out chunk by chunk as a way of making the song accessible, but also making the song not just hers, but ours. What does that teaching and welcome look like? And then friends, we know that there might be a variety of access points in your congregation. Not everyone is of very good hearing. Sometimes we don't always get the best connection online. Friends, you'll notice that earlier up, I put the text in the chat bar. One of the strategies we've been noticing is that sometimes it helps to have the text in a few different forms. Even if you have an online bulletin or have something in front of you at home, you can even sing from that. We're not advocating for one way or another way, but simply noticing a variety of access points to the text and even to the music can be helpful for community. Just some more things to pay attention to.
Thank you, Paul. And we'd like to invite Charles and Paul into our next sharing.
Friends, I was working this week with a community in Yardley, Pennsylvania, that after last week's webinar invited me to come in to do some work with them. And friends, I wonder, maybe actually I'm going to need a pitch. Can we try that, Charles? What have you got? Oh, Charles, as everyone else is on mute, we're going to invite you, friends, into some learning and listening together. Friends, I'll unmute echo after me. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have
mercy. Christ, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy. Lord, have mercy on us.
Lord, have mercy on us. Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy. Lord, have
mercy on us. Lord, have mercy on us.
Friends, I invite you, unmute yourselves, panelists who are here in the room. And friends, now we're going to sing each, Lord have mercy. I'll sing the first, Charles will sing the second. And I invite you to offer your prayer at your own tempo, in your own way. Sing, Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have
Christ have mercy.
Christ have mercy.
Lord, have mercy on
Lord, have mercy on
On us.
have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Christ have
Lord, have mercy on
Lord have mercy
on
Thank you. Thank you. So, friends and attendees, all, what did we notice about that offering? I see prayerful and playful, reverent cacophony. There's a question about Shruti boxes. Beautiful questions about that. There's some resources there. It's a bellows style. It's an instrument that can create what's called a drone. Interesting. Other friends, other noticings we're having. Yeah, Patty.
those wonderful long vowels. I just notice how, I mean, that's where the music happens, right? It's never really on the consonants, it's always on the vowels. And the letting go of any attachment to tempo or groove, that's a real learning for me in this whole process. It's just sinking into the vowels with each other and following each other at different speeds to wherever we are going. And we all get there. And that's a miracle.
Thank you. Friends, other noticings?
Notice when we try to be together, it probably doesn't work. But when we try to find the spaces.
And Barbara, there's some parallel noticings in the chat bar to that there's something about an expectation that when we sort of open up our expectations, that sort of new things maybe can happen, and a noticing just around expectation. Also some interesting noticings about distraction, some noticing that they were drawn in, some were sort of noticing distraction. These are all really interesting noticings. Also to say that there was a noticing about sharing leadership. So the sort of flow back and forth, there's something that is being modeled here by Paul and Charles of really sharing the leadership and inviting in everyone else. Some would even call that a vox populi. So you could have a person who is, if you'd like to say, leading, and then the other person is sort of being the voice of the people. So that's an interesting noticing as well.
Friends, it's really interesting to notice, and those who are wondering, that piece is actually by Sui Hong Lim. It is not unmetered. It is actually a very metered piece. And the work that I was doing with this community, I realized that I had to take the music at a different pace. I had to adapt it. And I was noticing, and I'm going to pull up the third slide, that sometimes, friends, we actually have to rethink the ways that we're approaching this practice as we're in this online space. And in some ways, I want to say this, we're inviting deeper listening to each other, but we're also inviting, if I could say this, deeper listening to the music. What is the music needing or wanting from us in this moment? Friends, when we're singing without mute in this asynchronous way in which we offered, what practices are facilitating that deeper listening? And we're asking, how are we in relationship, even with silence? Not everyone was singing all the time, but we were listening and singing, which is actually a key part of Ensemble. We can still practice that. Friends, also asking questions about the size of our group. We're at 16. But friends, I wonder if what changes when the group gets to be 40 or 50 or 60 online. It may not necessarily be sustainable. It might be. It might even be more cacophonous and weird. In which case, friends, we're just paying attention. We're noticing what that sound is, how that sound is different. We have been, as a small group, practicing in groups of 12 to around 16 over the last 6 weeks. We've also developed a sense of how we're together, and that's been really helpful for us. And I also want to notice, and this is important as I'm hearing people talk about how exhausted they are, what impact is this kind of singing also having online for us, emotionally, energetically, and vocally? Should we try to adapt all that we do musically from our liturgies on Sunday morning or in our song circles into this format? Is the same amount of music going to work? Are we going to be able to sustain the energy as leaders to do the same amount? But wondering about how we might need to think about how we show up so that we're healthy and we're well, and honoring the best and bringing the best of all we can bring to our communities. Let's continue on.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, it's so rich. There's such rich conversation happening. Thank you to our experienced song leaders so far, and thank you as well to our attendees for so much thoughtful, just playing and engaging with this with us. It is truly a community. And so let's invite Conie to do a little sharing for us as well.
I'll be singing, inviting you to sing the second Beatitude. So I invite you to enter the muted zone. This will be in Aramaic, so you know. Tuv wehun lo ileh dinon net bayun. Tuv wehun lo ileh dinon net bayun. I'll sing it one more time. Tuv wehun lo ileh dinon net bayun. The second Beatitude is, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. And I've been intrigued by this for the last few weeks. This is some of the work of Neil Douglas Klotz, who's taken a lot of Jesus's words, the Lord's Prayer, the I am words, phrases, and translated them back to the Aramaic, and then brought forward what we know about the Aramaic language and it being a sibling of Arabic, and its multi-layered, very nuanced and multi-layeredness. One of the translations he's shared is, healed are those who weep for their frustrated desire. And I feel so much of that right now, frustrated desire. They shall see the face of fulfillment in a new form. And it just has captured me that we shall see the face of fulfillment in a new form. So I invite you to sing this with me. Repeat after me. Tuv wehun, lawile, lawile, dihenon, dihenon, netbayun, netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun, dihenon, netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. I know that's a lot of words, but I invite you into the feeling sense of this melody and of this song, to immerse yourself in that, and trust yourself that the words will come in time. Here's the tune, I'll line it out. Tuvwehun lawile. Try that. Tuvwehun lawile. Listen. Dihenon. Try that. Dihenon. Netbayun. Try that. Netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. Try that. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. Again. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun. One more time. Tuvwehun lawile, dihenon, netbayun.
Thank you. Friends, let's notice. What do we notice from this sharing from Conie? And as well, attendees, thank you so much for your noticings written in the chat bar. What are we noticing?
I was a little anxious when Connie started with the song because I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to memorize this, try to figure out the words. But I thought, Connie, you led it beautifully, kind of leading us into it, and it did really help a lot to see the words on the screen as well.
Thank you.
I noticed when I saw the words on the screen, they looked quite different from what I thought they would look like.
Noticing that I never saw the words on the screen, so I don't know what my setup is, but I was just immersed in the singing, and I got to thinking about levels of risk, that it was a really beautiful moment for me to stay on mute, because I think the combination of the language and maybe being called to sing into it would have felt like, oh, but this just in my space singing with you, Connie, was really beautiful.
Thank you, friends. And there's beautiful noticings, the tune matching the lyrics. There's a noticing that for this attendee, an unfamiliar language helped them to lean into the emotions of the melody. Speaking the words before singing them was a noticing that was helpful. And as well, noticing tears as the body's response. Thank you for these beautiful noticings. Other noticings with this, how Connie invited us into this?
I was interested when the text came up on the screen, and not knowing that was going to happen, it was like I could feel different parts of my brain engaging, and one part going like, oh, look, there it is.
Yeah.
And the other part got to, okay, take a glance, but settle in. You got a connection with the leader here, with your ear. And if you're going to let go of that and get into this other way of, so I used it, I actually closed my eyes because I was listening better without it on the screen, without the words there. And then glanced at it occasionally, but it was.
Thank you, thank you. And we'll keep moving here with the next next piece. Thank you so much.
I want to make sure we can get to everything we asked to get to. Friends, thank you for these rich noticings, and thank you, Connie, for taking the risk of sharing something. As we put up the next slide, friends, a lot of us are working with choirs, but some of us are working with groups who are not necessarily singers or who would consider themselves shower singers or congregational singers. Some of us lead song circles. And we've been thinking about questions that connect to larger groups that may be, again, choirs or not. But how do we adapt our teaching for groups so that those who are confident feel engaged and feel welcomed and feel challenged? But how do we also, as we're saying later down, how do we also create support for less confident individuals to step into that brave space and support what they can do healthily and well? And what can we keep doing as we're exploring, and as Connie invited us and others have been inviting us, into how we listen and how we collaborate, even in this online space? I'm also going to notice that words like grief and emotional language has been coming up in our chats. And I've been noticing in the groups that I've been working with online, when emotion surfaces, friends, what do we do with that emotion? Can we process it? Can these song circles and online spaces also be a place for community check-in, for celebration, for naming gratitudes and challenges? In my seminary choir, doing theological reflection and communal music making work. We're not just singing in ways that are abstract, but that connect deeply to the human heart. And how do we find ways to honor what comes up? I want to say a quick word before Nehemiah invites us into our last exciting experiment about tech. You've been noticing that, and someone asked in the chat bar, what are you doing? What are your tech setups? And friends, we're going to send you at the end of this webinar a few links to some tech helps. But one of the ways that we've been exploring making music and finding connection and finding the quality of sound just a little bit, I would say, better than if it were not in another way, we were using Zoom's original sound feature. We will send that to you so that you can know more about that and set that up on your PC. It's unfortunately not possible to do it with your phone, and I think iPads have limited sound, but your laptop can. An external microphone can be really helpful. Some of us have better or worse microphones in our computers, but external mics can be very helpful. We also noticed that trying to plug into an actual Ethernet connection rather than Wi-Fi can make a big difference. And finally, exploring these co-hosting and Zoom breakout rooms. We are finding that in order to manage spaces online, we sometimes need to break out. We need to explore ways. We're doing this today thanks to Rhiannon being our Zoom wizard, we're calling her. But we need support. And it may be that another person in your choir or another individual who's connected to your congregation or your group could manage muting on and off and some of the other technical details that we're all practicing together. So these are really important. Good. One last piece, and then we're on our way.
Nehemiah.
Welcome, everyone. As New York entered into shelter in place, I was in the midst of my graduate studies in music composition. And so one of the things that I became very interested in was deep listening. What am I listening to? What am I listening for? What are things that I hear differently? What are things that I am hearing that need to change? And amazingly enough, one of the things that come up if you Google deep listening is the Deep Listening Ensemble by Pauline Oliveros, who is an American composer, 20th century, who was experimenting with ways of letting go of what we think of as music. So as I invite you into this time and into this improvisation and experiment, I invite you to let go of expectations, let go of what you think or what you have thought, and listen deeply to the moment. This is a simple 3-step improvisation. The first step is to take a deep breath and begin by singing a pitch that you hear in your imagination. The second step is, after you have contributed your pitch, listen for another singer's pitch and tune in unison to the pitch as exactly as possible. The third step, listen again and sing a pitch that no one else is singing. 1 pitch per breath. Sing warmly and sing quietly. I will now invite us, all of our panelists, off of Zoom. Off of mute. Please stay on Zoom. Please stay. And we will do this for about 2 to 3 minutes. I find that it's very great to give about 10 minutes. I've been a part of groups that have done this for as long as 30 minutes to an hour. And this is an exercise of listening. Spend as much time listening as possible. But here we go. Let's all take a deep breath together. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nehemiah. Friends, we have been exploring from what we hope we've modeled for you today are things that are accessible and things that you will use and share with your community. We also hope that you've seen some ways in which we are exploring the outer reaches of what's possible with Zoom. And I want to thank you, Nehemiah, for inviting us into a space that is not often occupied by those of us who work with choirs. Even experimental musics are calling us to deepen our listening, calling us to pay attention to what's possible. I don't want us to get stuck thinking. The first time I talked with a colleague about Zoom, my colleague said, "We can't sing with Zoom." And I thought, oh no, we can. We just have to sing differently. And I hope that today you've gotten some guidance, some wisdom, some feedback about what's possible. And I want to invite Charlotte to tell you about what you should expect next. But more than anything, friends, I want to invite your support. But first, Charlotte, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Nehemiah, for that beautiful centering as well, and to all of our leaders, to all of our attendees. So what to expect next from us? You will be receiving some resources from us, and as well, we would love to invite you into sharing this practice going forward in what we're calling playgroups or virtual practice groups. And so we'd love to invite you into, we're going to be sharing here on the screen a way to fill out a survey and let us know kind of your interests around virtual practice groups. If you have any questions about that, please be in touch with either Paul or myself. We're very happy to support you with that. So again, look out for future resources from us from this webinar and also virtual practice groups. And we'll be putting up the information for the survey shortly.
Rhiannon has just dropped it in the chat bar. If you'd like to be part of a group like this, our practice group leaders are excited to be leaders to you, to help you explore and experience what Zoom leadership can be like. And friends, what I'll tell you is these skills transfer to other parts of our lives. This isn't just about what we do with music and in online spaces, but it's how we live our lives as listeners, as noticers, as curiosity seekers. Friends, I invite you to finally, if you are today, find yourself enriched, if you find yourself even more curious and excited about what's possible with Zoom singing, we have our nonprofit. We are at this moment, as you can imagine, like many nonprofits, grateful for the support, which matters more than ever. And you can today to say thank you for this work that we've offered. Make a donation through Venmo at Music That Makes Community or at PayPal. You can also go, as Rhiannon has just dropped those links, go directly to PayPal to make a generous donation to support this ongoing work. We can't do this without you. And I also want to say, panelists, we can't do this without you. 6 weeks ago, an intrepid group of people started to meet, not just this group, but others who have come and gone, and others who, for whatever reason, couldn't make it today. So I want to thank you, panelists, for your time, and thank you, participants, those of you who have been here today to listen and notice with us. I also want to say, hang out. We're going to hang out for 15 minutes. I see there are some Q&As down below. You may also have some other questions you want to ask us in the chat bar. We're going to hang out, and we're going to just socialize with you as much as one can socialize in this medium online. I want to invite Charles to send us off with one more song as we go. So if you need to go, we understand, we're at the hour. If you want to stay and ask questions and gain some more, you're welcome to stay for another 15 minutes. Charles, will you send us off? And we can sing together.
Yeah. Love, take a walk with me. Love, take a walk with me. Love, take a walk with me. And Spirit, guide my feet. Sing with me. Love, take a walk with me. Love, take a walk with me. Whoa, 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 love, take a walk with me. And Spirit, guide my feet. And Spirit, and Spirit, guide my feet.
Thank you, friends. I would invite those of us who are panelists, maybe we could unmute for just a moment. And I see that there are some questions that are coming up. And I'm going to read them aloud, and maybe we can offer some feedback. Laura Ramsey has offered this question. I've heard it said that if everyone focuses on the person leading the song's lips, not waiting till you hear the sound, the delay is not so noticeable. It helps too if the song leader taps a rhythm and everyone follows their hands. I've not personally tried it. Does anyone know if this works? Friends, what have our experiences been around the leader's rhythm and bodies? What have you seen?
I would like to say that if people are really animated, and I saw that today, that really helps keep people together just naturally.
So if people are animated, it really does help. I've noticed that my keeping a steady beat has really helped me as the leader also not get lost as I'm watching other people slightly delayed from me or hearing other people slightly delayed from me. Anyone else? What have you noticed, group?
I would reiterate and add to that, even patting my own body helps ground me in the song, because it's so easy to get lost in the visual, and to be kinesthetic in myself as much as possible. I notice that when I do that, and even if I'm feeling more physically in my body, and if I can embody that and somehow show it, that does come across, and people are reminded even by that visual cue that, oh, I have a body too. And it's because it's really easy to lose that sense.
Visual cueing seems to be really important in this medium. I don't know about you, but I am paying attention to, we get to see our faces, right? So with faces comes a different kind of experience than singing to the back of a person's head. We do get a more immediate and personal experience. Any other noticings around bodies and rhythm? Jennifer, did you have one?
I was going to say that I've had moments in our weekly playtime where I try and kind of game the system, like, oh, I'm going to try and get ahead, and that ends up being very distracting. Even though the kind of output might be in sync, it's not experientially in sync. So in some ways I feel like I've released the music out to embrace the music in at some level.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Tracy Weatherhog asks a question. She says, are any suggestions or thoughts about singing differently for other platforms, i.e. Facebook Live? I can say to you, Tracy, we've been here at our seminary worshiping almost exclusively through Facebook Live. And I have used these same teaching practices again and again, even if I can't hear the community that's singing wherever they are at. In their other place. So in other words, I don't just sing through a hymn, I'll line it out, or I'll line out a song much like our leaders have been modeling. Friends, are there any other ways you've been exploring using Facebook Live? Martha, I know you've been using Facebook Live in your community and others. What have you noticed?
The Facebook Live for us hasn't worked as a way to do this sort of thing. I mean, we've been doing pre-recording with the acapella app and doing a lot of shuffling of the puck, across the field during the week and compiling things. Yeah.
Sylvia, you had something, please.
Well, yesterday we do a little 5-minute pause and pray every day. And so I shared a couple songs, including David Poole, who was on the call today's Hope is Deeper Than Despair. And it occurred to me that I could at least invite people at home that I can't be a canon by myself, but that we could make a canon together, and that I could cue the canon of the people at home, and it's really up to them what they do with that. But hypothetically, we could be singing a really extraordinary canon. And again, as people have said, you have a lot of freedom to make mistakes when you're home and no one is hearing you. So it seems like a good time to practice.
I remember one of the first online song circles that you led, Connie, your Heart Songs group. You were singing a piece that I knew to be a canon, and while I was on mute, I sang the canon.
I see someone asked about, do partner songs work? And this last Monday, Heart Songs I led a 3-layered song and invited to either sing with me after I taught all the pieces, or pick a part. And even though they could only probably make the 2 parts work and not all 3, but sharing afterwards a video, if there's one available, is one way to also share in those more elaborate things. So
Singing canons in this live Zoom format is quite challenging. To go back to the question about Facebook Live and Zoom, I have been noticing that many congregations are using Facebook Live as their worship modality, but then small groups and other pieces of church life are happening on Zoom. And that's why I think for us it's been really helpful to be exploring, because this is where a lot of the connective tissue of lives and story and of faces intersect. And how powerful to have ways that we can sing together and still manage to find those kind of connections. Michael Paul asks a question: when two people are on one computer, what's the best way to produce a good sound? Anyone have some experience with two people in one place working together?
Patty and Emily.
Patty, yeah, there they are. Patty and Emily. How are you thinking of good sound?
Yeah, I've been leading my online community choirs, and Emily is a member of that choir, and so she will attend beside me, and depending on the amount of preparation we've done,
usually none.
It works, yeah, it works or doesn't work, but she
it always works. It works some way or another.
She's gained independence on a lot of her parts, so my singers get to hear two parts together, which feels really special to them. We just sing into our laptop microphone. We don't even have an external microphone at this point. And it seems to really work. People have a lot of love for Emily, so that also works.
Yeah, I think
to see two people singing together is a relief in this time.
And then when there's two singing, then you can choose, and then it does kind of cheat the system a bit, and then you can feel like you're in a choir when you're singing with two other people. We found it's quite
three-part harmony.
Yeah.
If you sing a third part, you get three-part harmony even.
Yeah.
Anyone else in terms of other questions around being together? Barbara, do you have something?
There we are. I've had good experience of leading a call and response or an echo with a service where then we've got two people together and they do the response together, and it just it brings the male and female voice even in, and it just gives a greater feeling of all singing together. Yeah. So
super. One more question. How are you including people who are not Zoomers except with phones? But how are you including not Zoomers with phones? Has anyone had experience with people dialing in on their telephone because they're not able to download the app on their phone? Any experiences with that, friends?
We've in our playtime groups, that Paul has spoken about introducing you. This is a lot of us, and then there's a lot here in spirit as well. We've had some participants come on with without visuals by phone, and like not all of us have. Sometimes our connections go up and down. So I think generally there's something about there's a very clear noticing that can happen in terms of, oh, this person is not visually able to see us because it's coming in as a phone number, and then just making some adjustments around using visual cues and also adding in some other cues. Friends from the play group, other insights about that? I'm not sure if that kind of covers it, but
there's one person in our congregation who had been able to like see and hear from her computer, but we couldn't see her. And she finally got a new computer and made the comment that she finally felt seen. So there's an aspect of visibility and inclusion that is a part of that, that we privilege the visual, which we find delight in great ways, and we sort of the non-visual people fall away, and so it's an interesting thing to hold and be attentive to.
And it's something to grieve a bit. Oh.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, it's something to grieve a bit right now. Well, not just a bit. because I definitely have some choir members who just can't. I don't want to say it's not that they won't. And in my threshold group, we've lost 2 singers, and one wrote us and said she's lost interest in it. And we're trying to find out what that's about. So I think I just throw that out to say we can keep trying to include people, but I'm sad.
Martha Ann, thank you for helping us notice that grief and also notice that technology is not intuitive for all of us. And also noticing is, I'm going to call out Elizabeth Schrader here, who said that her colleague, actually her wife, but also the priest of their parish, is also very keen on making sure everyone is named as they enter the room so that folks hear their names. They know that others know that they are present, even if they are not seen. Another way of honoring the many different ways in which we are engaging at this moment. Nehemiah, thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership. If you have to go, I understand. We're going to finish in just another moment. And look at this, Alan Gasser, thank you so much. Yes, there are so many challenging moments here, and we're all trying to figure it out. And someone mentioned, Lori, one last question, a cappella. Yes, some of us are on a cappella. If you're on a cappella in this practice group or in this play group, will you raise your hand? Super. So about 4 or 5 of us are on, 6 of us are on a cappella. And Lori, we're using it. I'm using it as a tool for both recording layered and multi-part songs, but I'm also using it as a way of garnering some collaboration. Connie and I did a setting of Come Light of Lights. I know others have been playing around with it. Others, a cappella?
I know Martha Ann has said this, but I also, this is how I engaged parts of my choir to support the congregational singing on Sunday morning. So as our webinar has been going on, I've been getting pings of like, the link is here, time to send it on to someone else.
Exactly. Any last questions? I'm seeing, thank you very much, John, for sending a video of some of the work that you've been doing with your community. Thank you, Anne, and thank you, friends, for all that you've offered. And thank you, Emily Savin, for offering a wonderful Zoom chant that you wrote. We sang it as a group, and we're going to come back to it, I hope, this week with you leading it. That would be my prayer. But friends, a lot of us are on a cappella, which is an app, not a way of singing. It's actually now an app that you can find on your phone or your iPad, and you can use it for collaborative music making. Friends, there's been a lot of wisdom and a lot of love here shared. It's only for Apple devices, unfortunately. Thank you very much for that, Slats. I didn't realize that. It isn't a proprietary app, and that's what it looks like. Martha has got a little 2 microphones next to me.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Martha, with the visual for the win. We, friends, are really grateful for your presence. I really appreciate it. The ways that you've engaged and interacted here, but also I hope the wisdom and the inspiration you've taken away from our time together. Panelists, thank you. Playgroup, we'll see you on Wednesday. And thank you, Letitia. Thank you, Breen. Thank you, friends. And Breen has it on her Android. Oh my gosh, so maybe there is. And thank you very much, Alan, so much for joining us. It's so great to have you with us. And Tracy, thank you again for all these wonderful friends. We see names that we know and friends that we're just making today. Thank you for your
beautiful
support.
people. Thank you, Paul, as well, for convening us.
My joy and pleasure. Here we are.
Thank you.
Stay well, and blessings to you all, and we'll stay in touch. And thank